Hey guys, how are you? Thanks for checking us out again. Hope you enjoyed the first video or sort of the relaunch of the series here via Facebook. And yeah, we're just gonna keep rolling. So as I said in the last video, I wanted to do beers that were local to me as we sort of get rolling with this again. And so pick another beer that's very local to me. Here in Galesburg, as I mentioned in the last video, we have a pretty thriving homebrew scene, but we also have a brew pub. Well, actually, I guess now they're a production brewery because they just started packaging, but Iron Spike Brewing Company here in Galesburg. Been around 3.5 years, something, 3.5, 4 years, something like that now. They do a wide variety of beers, some of which I've really, really loved, and some that just haven't found me as well as the others. But beers that on the whole are usually pretty well made. And so they just started packaging about a year ago, year and a half ago. They do 12-ounce cans, and they just started doing large format bombers. And this is one of them. This is the newest one to hit the market. This is Iron Spike Brewing Company's Peanut Buster, their peanut butter porter. And yeah, saw on the shelf, saw that it was hitting the market, and wanted to try it out, see what it's like in bottle. I believe I had like a taster of it once, like a year ago maybe, so it's not really fresh in my mind. So it's still kind of a new review. But yeah, look at the label art there, Iron Spike. Galesburg is known as like the rail city. There's a huge railroad presence here, so Iron Spike sort of, all their branding, their labeling, their whole theme is sort of railroad inspired. I'm not always a huge fan of their label art cards on the table, but I don't know, I dig this one. I don't know why. It's cartoony is not the right word, but it's got kind of this DIY look about it. I don't know. I saw it on the shelf, and it differentiates itself from the others. I don't know what it is, but the label art, but it stands out. So, what it says on the bottle here: Peanut Buster Porter, an American-style porter with a twist. Peanut butter flavor added to create a warming beer for the cold winter months. Behind the name, a nut buster is a machinist on the railroad. This brew was made with peanut butter, so the name just seemed fitting. All right, 6% alcohol by volume, and let's get into it and see what it's got. This is an American-style porter. An American-style porter versus a traditional English porter. In America, if we do a hoppy beer, we're going to make it hoppier. If we do a Russian Imperial Stout, it's going to be stronger. So an American-style porter, it's just going to be, it might be a little bit higher in alcohol. It might have a little more body, a little more mouthfeel. It might be a little more assertively hopped. It's just essentially everything's bigger in Texas type of mentality, more or less. I should say, too, peanut butter beers, usually not my thing. But, when you've been into something for a long time, anything, whether it's art, music, whatever it is, it's easy to kind of fall into a rut and just know what you like and kind of turn a blind eye to things that you just think, I'm not going to like this. And so, peanut butter beer is not my thing, but let's give it a try. You know what I mean? Like, my policy is you should try every beer that comes across your table. Sorry, I have the windows open, so it's, people are riding by on motorcycles making a fuss. But, yeah, try everything once. Sometimes try everything twice. That's my motto. So, and like I said, I know the brewer here. He's a really nice guy. His name's Blake Benedict at Iron Spike Brewing. And again, even if the beers have not necessarily been to my taste, they're well made. So we're going to give it a shot. Let's get into some peanut butter madness, shall we? Let's see here. All right. All right. Nice little pour there to see what she's all about. All right. So, beer pours in, sort of an auburn, maybe a dark chestnut. Not necessarily, black or anything like that. And it should be. Porter's, obviously a bit lighter than stouts. Um, some almost like ruby highlights in there. If you hold it up to the side, it almost to me is evocative of a Doppelbock in terms of the color. So yeah, a little bit lighter than I thought. I can smell it already. Let's get some head on there. See if we can get some head. Not terribly carbonated. Let's see. That might be my fault on the pouring aspect of it. Let me see if I can't rouse a bit more head on there with a nice hard port. No, okay, not so much. Okay, but let's see. Swish it around a little bit. The head that is there. It's sort of an off-white bit of foam. Fairly clear. Obviously, the color it's a little bit opaque, but decent clarity to it. Let's see what she smells like. I mean, it's a peanut butter porter. It smells like a nice, somewhat roasty but chocolatey porter with peanut butter in it. I mean, a slight bit of coffee, a coffee note to it. So, I mean, if you took, it's going to sound gross, but you took a Reese's cup and dusted it with a little bit of sort of like dark roast coffee, that's what you have here. I mean, yeah, I don't want to sound flippant about it because it's not, but I mean, because it is what is advertised. It is a porter with really prevalent, appealing peanut butter aromatics. I mean, it smells like a Reese's cup. A little bit lighter bodied than I would have anticipated. So sort of light to medium, sort of maybe on the high side of light, the very low side of medium bodied. Yeah, a little aqueous, I guess, from what I would anticipate, what I would have thought. But very super drinkable, goes down easy, and again, I'm getting a little bit of like a cereal grain note from the malt, which makes it taste more like the Reese's Cup cereal that they used to make. I don't know if they still make it or not, but for any of you who remember that Reese's Cup cereal, if you open a box of Reese's Cup cereal and just started eating them, that's what this tastes like, and not in a bad way at all. Ooh, on the finish. So the finish is, right up front, it's all peanut butter, chocolate, a slight bit of roast, very similar to the aromatics. The finish, there's very little bitterness, but I'm almost kind of getting a slightly like, almost like a little bit of like a banana note, which I assume is coming probably from the yeast. Deschutes Black Butte Porter. One of my favorite, it is my favorite American-made porter. Deschutes Black Butte Porter, to me, has kind of a distinct, slight banana note to it on the finish. And I get that here as well. And I have to assume that that's a yeast thing for sure. I can't imagine it coming from the malt or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, it's chocolate, peanut butter, a little bit of graininess like the cereal, and then a slight like ripe banana note on the finish. Yeah, it's a nice beer. Again, I think for me, I would want a little more body to it. It is somewhat watery to me. That does make it, again, more drinkable. But again, for a porter, especially as they bill it for the winter months, I'd want a little more body. That again probably means you're going to have to increase the alcohol content a bit. I like this is 6%. But yeah, I just would something a little more substantial in the mouth. I think that would help sort of carry the flavors a bit better, because as it sits now, the flavors that are there when it's in my mouth, they're very active. But the second I swallow and it's off my palate, it's gone. And so it doesn't have a necessarily great ride out to it. I want a little bit something more on the finish. But again, that said, you have to know what you're getting into. It says peanut butter porter. That's what it sets out to do, and that's what it achieves. Yeah. So again, and that's commendable. There are a lot of beers out there that say they're X and Y, they're going to tell X and Y story, and then they don't. They fail to live up to that. So the fact that they say this is what this is, and it hits it, again, that's a commendable thing. Food pairing wise, I don't know what I'd pair with it. Something chocolate and peanut butter seems too easy, but that's kind of what I leap to, and it might actually work, because again, this is a little bit thinner bodied, a little bit lighter in mouthfeel. This with like a peanut butter cup or some sort of chocolatey peanut butter dessert might pair well. You might have a slightly more rich dessert with something like this, a little thinner. It might actually complement really well. Would I get it again? I don't know if I'd buy a bomber of it again. Now, that said, it was like $7.99 for a 22-ounce bomber. That's a great price point. Would I buy it again? Would I go to the store and get it again? I don't know if I necessarily reach for it again. If I was at the brew pub and it was on, yeah, I might get a pint of it, or maybe 12 ounces of it. I don't think I'd want 16 ounces of it, but yeah, I would have a 12-ounce pour, I think, just because right up front it is so... the flavors are so impactful. I think it's got that going for it. Yeah, I'd get a 12-ounce pour. On a 100-point scale, what do I go with it? I'll go 84, 85, somewhere in there. It's a fine beer. It's well made. It delivers on its premise. What more do you want? So yeah, I'll go 84 plus, 84, 85. So, a solid B beer. So yeah, cool. Well, that was the Peanut Butter Porter from Iron Spike Brewing Company in Galesburg, Illinois. Thank you guys for checking us out. If you have comments, questions, concerns, suggestions, etc., leave them down below the video. And until next time, guys, go get this beer, and I'll keep drinking. Cheers.